Okay, let's just dive right into this. I want you to imagine something for a second. What if you could build an employee, one that works for you 24/7, never gets tired, and can knock out a full day's worth of creative research before you've even had your morning coffee? I know, it sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, today we're going to break down the blueprint for exactly that. So, 10 hours. If you're a creator, a researcher, or really anyone whose job it is to come up with ideas, this number probably feels painfully familiar. This is that time you spend deep, deep down the rabbit hole. You know the feeling. You're scrolling through endless data, trying to spot a trend, hunting for that one breakthrough idea. And you almost always end up more confused than when you started. It's a draining, 10-hour-long process. Now, what if I told you that that entire 10-hour workflow could be condensed into just 15 seconds? No, that's not an exaggeration. That is literally the time it took a custom-built autonomous AI system to do the exact same strategic research. The difference is just staggering, and honestly, it changes the game completely. And that really brings us to the core question of this entire thing. We're moving way beyond using AI to just write an email or generate a quick image. We're asking, how can we actually teach it to think, How can we get it to automate the most valuable part of the whole creative process, the actual strategy? So this all started with a mission. The goal wasn't just to build another tool, but to create an autonomous AI command center. Something that could sift through all the noise of the internet and deliver real, actionable, viral trends right to you, all while you're asleep. That became the quest. And look, this mission came from a very real, very relatable place. I mean, information overload is a massive problem for all of us. We have access to all the data in the world, but making sense of it, that's the real challenge. And this quote just perfectly captures that frustration that I think so many of us feel. And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Pretty soon, anyone and everyone is going to have access to super powerful AI. That's the easy part. That's the commodity. The real secret, the real magic, isn't the tool itself. It's building the brain that guides it. That was the true puzzle to solve. So how do you actually build that brain? Well, it all comes down to this three-step blueprint. This is the tech stack, the recipe that allows an AI to start thinking less like a calculator and a whole lot more like an experienced creative producer. All right, here's the breakdown. Step one is data. We use the YouTube Data API, which is basically just a doorway that lets our system talk directly to YouTube to pull in live performance stats. Step two, reasoning. This is key. We use Gemini 1.5 Flash, a really powerful AI model that can literally read and understand entire video transcripts in seconds. And finally, step three is creation. We used a tool called File.ai to have the AI generate visual concepts based on everything it learned. So data, reasoning, creation. Simple as that. But of course, it wasn't a straight line to success. Not at all. To really appreciate the breakthrough, you have to understand the failures. And the first attempts, well, they showed that just plugging these powerful tools together wasn't going to be enough. There were definitely some big setbacks. And this was a huge one. In one of the early runs, the AI just made stuff up. It came back with fake video titles, completely imagined data points. This was a classic AI problem people call a hallucination. And it proved that without the right strategic guardrails, even the most powerful model is totally unreliable. The system just wasn't ready. In this quote right here, this really captures the turning point. The first few attempts used more basic free AI models. And yeah, they were impressive for what they were, but they just couldn't handle how complex this task was. The real pivot, the choice that saved the whole project, was switching to a premium reasoning model, one built for deep contextual understanding. And that single pivot led directly to this, the payoff. After all that trial and error, there was this one moment where the entire system just clicked into place and delivered something genuinely extraordinary. It was the moment that proved the whole mission was a success. Just look at this table. This is the actual output from the working system. The AI scanned thousands of videos and look what it found. It totally ignored the big channels with their predictable views. Instead, it flagged this one video, building a desk in 100 days, from a tiny little channel with only about 4,000 subscribers, but it had over 3 million views. That's an outlier score of 98.7. This is what we call a power video. It's the needle in a digital haystack that the AI was built to find. And this is the most important part. The AI didn't just hand over a link and say, here you go. Because it had analyzed the entire transcript, it was able to deconstruct why the video went viral. It identified the story arc, the pacing, the key emotional triggers. The moments that actually made people connect with it. It delivered not just data, but deep strategic insight. And that really leads us to the single most important takeaway from this entire experiment. This is the fundamental shift in how we should think about this stuff. Powerful AI isn't here to take over your creative spark. It's here to eliminate those 10 hours of tedious, soul-crushing work that gets in the way of that spark. It automates the drudgery so we can focus on what we humans do best. So I'll just leave you with this question. Think about your own workflow, your own 10-hour research sessions. Now that you know it's actually possible to teach an AI to think strategically for you, what's the very first boring task you're going to give to your new AI employee?